A promotion feels like validation. Someone finally saw your effort, your loyalty, your skill, and decided to reward it with more title, more authority, more pay. And in that excitement, it's easy to skip the one question that actually matters most. Not can I do this job, but should I accept it at all? Scripture never treats advancement as automatically good simply because it's offered. Sometimes a promotion is God's provision, and sometimes it's a test, disguised as an opportunity. Today we're walking through the specific warning signs that should make you pause, pray, and possibly decline before you say yes to that next title. Jeremiah 45:5 asks a piercing question, whether we should seek great things for ourselves, warning that ambition without discernment can lead us into trouble we never anticipated. That doesn't mean advancement is wrong. It means advancement without discernment is dangerous. Let's walk through when a promotion should stop you before it moves you forward. Never accept it if the promotion requires you to compromise your integrity to get there. Sometimes the path to advancement quietly asks for something in exchange: silence about wrongdoing you've witnessed, participation in decisions you know are unethical, or loyalty to a person over loyalty to what's right. If accepting this role means becoming complicit in something your conscience already objects to, the title isn't worth what it costs. Proverbs 28:6 tells us that better is the poor person who walks in integrity than one who is crooked in their ways, though rich. Daniel was offered exactly this kind of test in Babylon. Opportunities for advancement that came bundled with expectations his convictions couldn't accept. Yet he found ways to remain faithful even while serving in a demanding system. If the promotion in front of you requires silence about wrongdoing, participation in deception, or betrayal of someone who trusted you, that advancement is a trap wearing the costume of opportunity. Never accept it if it will systematically destroy your family or your health. More authority almost always means more demand on your time, your energy, and your presence. That's not inherently wrong, but it becomes a warning sign when the demand isn't sustainable, when it requires the total sacrifice of your marriage, your children's formative years, or your own physical and mental health for the sake of a title. Ecclesiastes 4:6 tells us that one handful with tranquility is better than two handfuls with toil and chasing after the wind. That verse isn't a call to laziness, it's a warning against trading peace for gain that ultimately satisfies nothing. If the honest answer to, "What will this promotion cost my family?" is devastating rather than manageable, that cost deserves prayerful wait before you accept, not quiet dismissal in the excitement of the offer. Never accept it if you sense no peace about it, even after prayer. This sign is subtle, but it's one of the most important. Sometimes an opportunity looks perfect on paper: better pay, more prestige, more influence, and yet something inside you remains deeply unsettled, no matter how much you try to talk yourself into excitement about it. Colossians 3:15 instructs us to let the peace of Christ rule in our hearts, and that peace is meant to function almost like an umpire, calling the decision one way or another. Gideon repeatedly sought confirmation before stepping into the role God was calling him toward, unwilling to move forward on assumption alone, even when the calling itself was clearly from God. If you've prayed sincerely and genuine peace still hasn't come, don't override that unsettled feeling simply because the offer has a deadline attached to it. Never accept it if the motivation is pride or proving something to someone else. Ask yourself honestly why you want this promotion. Is it because you're genuinely gifted for the role and sense God's provision in the timing, or is it because you want to prove something to a parent who doubted you, to a colleague who passed you over before, to your own insecurity that's been waiting for external validation to finally feel enough? Proverbs 16:18 warns that pride goes before destruction and a haughty spirit before a fall. Advancement pursued to feed pride tends to collapse under its own weight the moment the position gets difficult, because the foundation was never stable to begin with. It was built on proving rather than calling. A promotion accepted for the wrong reasons often becomes the very thing that exposes those reasons publicly. Never accept it if it separates you from a community or calling God clearly placed you in. Sometimes the new role requires relocation, or a shift so significant it pulls you away from a church community, a mentorship, or a specific assignment God has clearly been developing in your current season. Advancement that requires abandoning something God explicitly placed you in deserves careful scrutiny before acceptance. Acts 20:22-24 shows Paul wrestling with exactly this kind of tension, sensing danger ahead in Jerusalem, yet remaining resolute about finishing the task God had assigned him, unwilling to let comfort or safety redirect him from his actual calling. The question isn't simply, is this a good opportunity? It's, does this opportunity align with the specific assignment I already know God has me in right now? Sometimes the answer is yes. Sometimes the promotion is actually the distraction. Never accept it if you're only doing it out of fear of what happens if you decline. This final warning might be the most common and the most quietly damaging. Fear that declining will end your career. Fear that saying no will disappoint someone whose approval matters too much to you. Fear that this is your only chance and it will never come again. 2 Timothy 1:7 reminds us that God did not give us a spirit of fear, but of power, love, and a sound mind. A decision made purely out of fear, rather than genuine conviction or peace, rarely produces the fruit we hope it will, because fear-based decisions are rooted in scarcity rather than trust. If declining this promotion terrifies you more because of what others might think than because of any genuine loss to your calling, examine that fear honestly before letting it make the decision for you. Now, here's the necessary balance to everything we've walked through. Not every promotion is a trap, and Scripture doesn't discourage advancement, responsibility, or growth. Joseph rose to authority in Egypt exactly according to God's plan, and that advancement, when it finally came, was a genuine gift used for tremendous good. Proverbs 22:29 even tells us that a person skilled in their work will stand before kings, not obscure people. Advancement, offered at the right time, for the right reasons, aligned with peace and integrity, is often exactly how God provides and positions His people for greater impact. The warning signs we've discussed today aren't meant to make you suspicious of every opportunity. They're meant to help you discern the difference between promotion that's genuinely from God and promotion that simply looks impressive on the surface. Before your next opportunity arrives, and it likely will, prepare your heart now rather than in the rush of the moment. James 1:5 reminds us that if we lack wisdom, we can ask God, who gives generously without finding fault, and wisdom will be given. That promise applies directly to the next offer sitting on your desk, or the next one still on its way. Discernment isn't reserved for major life crises. It's meant to shape even the decisions that look, on the surface, like nothing but good news. The next title offered to you deserves prayer before it deserves your signature. If this word gave you clarity about a decision you're facing right now, drop discernment first in the comments and subscribe so the next message reaches you before your next opportunity does.